Well, here we go again, folks. They are trying to go after and make it so the certification of the election that happened back in November might not happen because, well, there's some legal wrangling that is going on by our left-wing friends to make it so they can stop Trump from taking office and crown Kamala Harris as your new president. Is this possible? Let's take a look.
It was an accident. About an hour ago, a small jet went down inside New York City. The president was on board.
President of what?
Gas, check. Food, check. Water, check. Weapons, check. Everything, check. All right, folks, welcome back to PrepperNow. I want to talk to you today about a few different things, but before we get started, please do know that there is a bit of a campaign by the people in back to hinder not just my channel, but many different channels of people that really go out of their way to try to make it so you guys can see some things in a different light. You know, a free society is the kind of society where people are able to speak and there isn't just a lone single narrative, and you're able to see things because you're intelligent enough and you don't need anyone hindering that. So as you can see by these posts on the screen, there have been numerous attempts by other channels. This is just the last 48 hours that I've seen these posts. Numerous attempts by this platform to just do things to hinder everything else. So please, the more you like, the more you subscribe, the more you share, the more you do this, the better it gets. I mean, I've literally gone off a wall. On December 17th, they basically put the hammer down on this channel and said, you're done. So that means I'm doing things right. Okay? So I want to talk today about a few different things, or a couple different things besides that. But I want to talk about what is going on with a push by people in our government following the precedent and example of what happened in Romania. And what is that? Well, in Romania, there was an election, and the election did not go the way some of the people in power wanted it to go. And they basically have called for a new election there. Well, there are now people here that are citing the 14th Amendment and saying that Trump is an oath-breaking insurrectionist and he is now ineligible to be president. They argue that he falls into the conditions set by the amendment, which provides that such a person can be removed by Congress with a 2/3 majority. Now, of course, that isn't going to happen, but these are legal experts, and it really does show the people in the background are just not figuring out what they should have figured out. The election should have been a clear message to everybody, including the blue hairs in the back, that what they're doing is not really enjoyed by most people. In fact, the majority of the people don't like this stuff, and they want to bring in a disruptor. That person would be Trump, of course. But these people are saying that he caused an insurrection and it went against the Constitution, and his impeachment on January 13th, 2021, they're saying that that's good enough to remove him from office. So disqualification is based on insurrection against the Constitution and not the government. The evidence of Donald Trump's engaging in such insurrection is overwhelming. The matter has been decided to 3 separate forums, 2 of which were fully contested with the active participation of Trump's counsel. So, they're saying that he has already been through everything, and now these are grounds for disqualification as specified in Section 3. Okay? So the full thing says, the first fully contested proceeding was Trump's second impeachment trial, January 13th, 2021, when he was impeached for incitement of insurrection. At the trial, the Senate, even 7 Republicans joined all Democrats to provide a majority for conviction, but failed to reach the 2/3 vote required for removal. Inciting insurrection encompasses engaging in insurrection against the Constitution or giving aid and comfort to the enemies thereof, and the grounds of which follow in Section 3. So the second contested proceeding was a Colorado 5-day judicial due process hearing, and they found clear and convincing evidence that President Trump engaged in insurrection, and those terms are now used in Section 3. The Colorado Supreme Court affirmed, and it held that states lack power to disqualify candidates for federal office, and that federal legislation was required to enforce Section 3. So there is a bipartisan inquiry in the House Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack, and basically the incapable conclusion of this evidence is that Trump engaged in insurrection against the Constitution. In particular, Trump unlawfully demanded that Mike Pence throw out the votes, override things, and he used Pence's rejection of demand to further inflame the crowd, where they were chanting some unsavory things. So in the Colorado case, it is Trump versus Anderson. It precludes Congress from rejecting electoral votes when they convene on January 6th. The basis of the 14th Amendment disqualification, this view lacks merit for 3 things. It goes on from there. To make an objection under the Count Act requires a petition signed by 20% of the members of each house. If the objection is sustained by a majority vote in each house, this vote is not counted, and the number of votes required to be elected is reduced by the number of disqualified votes if all votes for Trump were not counted. Kamala Harris would be elected the president. So what do you think about that? Yeah, what do you think about that? So there is an unlikelihood of congressional Republicans doing anything that might elect Harris, but the Democrats can take a stand against the Electoral College votes. And at that point, well, it could become a possibility. So that's a real possibility right there. And maybe it's that play they've been waiting to do. And so, of course, it doesn't matter that a majority of the country wanted him to be president. It matters that a bunch of legal eagles from Columbia University and other completely oblivious to the average common day demands and needs of Americans. So an outside entity that is smarter than you needs to step in and make it, because you're too stupid to make your own decisions, to allow the president of your choice become the president, even after a majority of the country did so. Just like we need people in the background of certain tech platforms to make the decisions for you, because you're not intelligent enough to make those decisions for yourself. They should come in and mitigate things and become the mediators of all that is right and good, and not allow you to see stuff because they deem it as such, because they're so smart and they're smarter than you, right? No, they're not. Well, also, before you go, there is a possibility that Michigan and other states' eggs are going to become more expensive. They have outlawed most eggs unless they are cage-free, and this is coming in the new year. Law states that chickens are not to be confined or tethered in a way that prevents them from lying down, standing up, fully extending their limbs, or turning around freely. Most of the guidelines for cage-free eggs were established in the United Egg Producers 2017 rules. They set the standards for how much area must be provided in order for eggs to qualify as cage-free. So, yeah. That could make grocers really raise prices. New news comes as egg prices continue to rise. Industry experts project that these higher costs will persist into 2025. So it's going to keep going. Of course, as the HPAI, which we found out is highly pathogenic avian influenza, is starting to really get going. So prices, of course, over the last year or so, since 2023, have gotten they've gotten much more higher. We were down in a West Virginia grocery store, and I saw $6.99 for a 12-pack of eggs, and they were not anything special. So there you have it. Your eggs are going up in price, and you got a bunch of left-wingers in there trying to do what they can to make it so Trump is not president again. What do you think about that? Leave your comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Hit that like button. Do the subscribe thing. I'm sure this will probably not be seen by anybody. They will not send out notifications. Check your subscription, please. They are doing their usual games, what they do, because they don't have the intelligence to actually debate or, make it so people like their side of politics. So, and instead of doing that and what an intellectual would do and someone with a little bit of, intelligence, they're doing what they always do. Don't allow them to do it. Call it out, and we will see you on the next one. God bless.